Hey folks, this is Igor Kheifets and welcome to a very special training call. I do want to thank everybody who made it, and I see people joining as we speak as well. So just want to welcome, Kevin, Jason, Elena, David, everybody. And just so I know that you guys can hear me, could you go ahead and type in a quick yes or a quick something into the chat box? Just to make sure you can hear me well, because I'm doing this out of my usual hideout coffee shop spot. And all right, and there's a lot of noise in the background, as you can tell. There's kids running around, and obviously they bring food and stuff, so I get distracted a lot. But I'll do my best to maintain a certain level of focus to deliver this never before released training to you guys. And what I want to really talk about today is some particular misconceptions that kept me really struggling and stuck in my business, and in my attempts to try and build a list when I was when I was just getting started, and when I was trying to get my business up and running on a very limited budget. And the reason I think it's very important for us to discuss this stuff, and for us to really to expose why a lot of these so-called list building experts are actually wrong about the entire thing, is because there's a lot of people out there who are just running around not knowing what to do, and they live in this doom and gloom reality where every list building attempt they try to pull off has them going backwards, right? And they don't get to experience any of the perks of the list building lifestyle that you hear me talk about a lot. So this is when I want to fix this. On this call, I want to really make sure that everybody knows just how, I don't want to say easy, because it's not easy, but I don't want to say simple, because there's really nothing complicated, about the entire procedure of going about and building a great list, a list that is capable of paying your bills on a very limited budget and without necessarily having a ton of experience. Okay, so let me start by discussing some of the key misconceptions that I've been guilty of buying into as a result of spending a lot of times on forums, and a lot of time, just watching free YouTube tutorials, trying to soak up information. Okay, so the first misconception was that I really honestly believed that you have to invest money first, and you'll make money later on once you've built a relationship with your list. And this myth in particular is deadly to your success. And what I mean by that is that there is really no relationship going on with your list until they buy something from you, or until they consume some sort of very particular content from you. And it's really not something you create just by emailing your list every day. In fact, the way I see it is you need to sell something first, and only then you can expect for your list to pay attention and form this relationship with them over time, where you're not really forming a new relationship, but you're strengthening an existing one. Okay? And this is only done after some money has been exchanging hands, or once they know who you are, by simply studying your offers in the marketplace. And what I mean by that is that I know it's a bit of a complicated concept to understand at first, but you see, nobody will take you seriously unless you're selling something. Nobody, it's like in the real world, in the offline world, right, not in the digital world, nobody will take you seriously as an expert unless you got a book published. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people on this call have read the book Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And the book was written by John Gray a long time ago, and he sold millions and millions of copies. And so what happened, John Gray went on to build a consulting practice and develop a whole company around training people to become marriage counselors and relationship counselors without necessarily having any sort of psychology PhD, okay? And when John Gray was confronted by a curious reporter on, hey, Mr. Gray, how come, you claim to be this guru on saving marriages and relationships if you don't have a PhD or any credentials whatsoever when it comes to counseling? To which he said, honey, I sold 15 million copies of my book. I don't need a PhD. And you see, John Gray gets it. John Gray understands that if you want to be taken seriously, if you want for people to pay attention, and if you want for people to give you money in exchange for value that you're planning to bring to the marketplace, you must position yourself in a certain way, and your list is no different. The people on your list will not listen to you unless you position yourself as somebody who needs to be taken seriously, and this is not done by following up with your list. In fact, your follow-up sequence will get lost in the shuffle very quickly unless they have a reason to listen to you in the first place. Okay? And that happens because people subscribe to so many lists today that their inbox is just flooded. And so it takes more than just a innovative subject line or a straightforward benefit, right, to get their attention. Your name has to have weight to it. You have to stand out with your name, not just with your subject lines. And so that is why, investing money first in your list and into traffic generation and hoping and crossing your fingers and praying to make money on the follow-up is false. Another big misconception that led me to spending a lot of money and a lot of time building very irresponsive lists is the misconception that affiliate marketing is profitable. And here's what I mean. I've attempted to make a full-time income through affiliate marketing for no less than 2 years before I finally understood that there has to be more to it than that. Because eventually, thanks to a guy by the name of Chris Fox, who created the product where he educated people about this particular side of affiliate marketing, what Chris said, he exposed the truth behind every single major super affiliate out there. And the truth was that each and every single one of them had their own offer on the marketplace. So whether it was a $47 product or a $7 product didn't matter. But unless you had the list of buyers that you could market to, people who have committed to you financially, you would never make a lot of money as an affiliate marketer because nobody would even look at you or listen to you or take your recommendation seriously unless, again, you had any authority with them. And so the only way to get authority with somebody is to produce value to the marketplace, which your clients get in exchange for money. And once they pay you something and you get them on your buyer list, this is when you can start promoting affiliate offers and affiliate products, and you can start generating those crazy EPCs that everybody seems to be talking about. Until you do that, you're really just, you're just a voiceless, a spineless, authoritatively entity in a huge shark-eat-shark environment, competing against millions of other people who are in the same shoes as you are. So, like I said, I really thank Chris Fox for creating that product, which was called Digital Millionaire, where he explained exactly how he made his millions through affiliate marketing. And like I said, the foundation to those millions were selling his own products first. Now, another great, and by the great I mean huge, not amazing, not awesome, but huge misconception that I had early on is that free traffic works. And here's why this is a misconception. Now, I'm aware of the fact that there's some people out there who are probably making some money through SEO. Now, the fact that their business has a shaky foundation is a completely different topic for a totally different training call, because obviously, they are now subdued to Google algorithm changes and everything else. So I personally know a lot of clients of mine who shifted from relying strictly on Google and SEO and free methods to going for paid methods, because they one day they woke up and they had either half of their income or 70% of their income entirely wiped out thanks to a new algorithm change or a sandboxing algorithm. So, like I said, that's a totally different topic for a totally different training call. But the reason I feel, and I know at this point, and I got proof, to prove that in my bank account and with the success stories I've delivered to the marketplace and for all my students, that free traffic doesn't work, is because free traffic, there's two flaws to it. First, there's like competition that's insane. Okay, when you do free traffic, you're always competing against hundreds of thousands of people, no matter the niche you're in. And even if the niche is currently not, infested with competition, it soon becomes one the more people figure it out, because there's always more people willing to work harder and invest the hours to do free marketing than there will be people willing to invest money and shortcut their way to success. And the second reason why free traffic doesn't work is because free traffic usually generates low-quality prospects. And what I mean by that is people who find you, the prospects who find you and your products through free methods such as YouTube or SEO or just off of your blog, they usually go and visit those places because they don't have any money to go buy the information that they're searching for. Okay? And so what happened to me in my business is that, well, actually I'm going to get into it in just a minute, so I don't want to spoil it for you. But I ended up wasting 2 years on nonsense and shenanigans until I realized that, it was time for a change. And the last misconception that I want to discuss and want to expose to you, just so you don't make it, is I honestly thought, okay, that I couldn't create a product until I became successful. And what I mean by that is it's kind of like this catch-22 that's going on. A lot of people out there, they secretly know and suspect that in order to make money, you must create your own product. And when I say your own product, I mean something like an ebook or a video course. Maybe have a coder, code you a software, and you can get a coder from Bulgaria, Russia, Ukraine, India, Pakistan. These countries where where $1 goes a long way. You can get those things coded very, very quickly for just a couple $100. You can get a great software as long as you got a great idea coded very, very easily. And so the product, like I said, might be an ebook or a video course or a coaching program or a software product, doesn't matter, but any sort of product that puts you now on a pedestal compared to the 99% of people trying to market online that have no authority and that don't have their own products. And so I honestly thought that in order to create a product, I first had to be successful. But what I didn't realize is that in order to become successful, just like what the idea that Chris Fox shared in Digital Millionaire, in order to become successful, I had to create my own product first. And obviously, there's specific ways and specific shortcuts you can take where you can create products without really having any sort of proof or track record or experience, which I teach in my Solo Take-Home Mentoring program, which is, again, something we'll leave for another time. But the point is that you can. Okay, at this point, I just want you to realize that there is a product in you, and you don't need to be a guru or an expert in order to create one. And in order to be a guru or in order to be an expert, in order to magically morph into a person of value, you first must create a product. And if you study any big-name marketers out there, like Frank Kern, Jeff Walker, Alex Jeffries, myself, if I can be compared to these powerhouses, Andy Jenkins, Mike Filsaime, right? If you study them, you'll notice that none of them operate a business without a product of their own. None. Frank Kern is notorious for releasing pipeline profits and Mass Control 2.0 and list control and a lot of other products. Mike Filsame has, oh man, he has so many that the most recent one I think was Video Genesis and Traffic Genesis. You have, Andy Jenkins, who was a part of StomperNet back in the day, that made a big splash, right? And to you, these may seem like these, highly professional done products, but these are nothing but information packaged in a very shiny wrapper. Okay, now obviously these guys build their fortunes on top of these products, on top of these projects, and on top of these launches, and the amount of authority, credibility, and leverage these products have gotten them is just insane. I mean, think about it. When you have a product, you don't even need to buy traffic. You can simply put up an affiliate program and recruit people to promote for you, right? So if we look at something like Empower Network, which is a product where people buy into an opportunity to be able to promote the opportunity and thus build a giant empire for the creator, right? So Dave and Wood and Dave Sharp, and at this point, as of me recording this webinar, there is no Dave Sharp. I think he left the company, right? These guys have went from nobodies to gazillionaires by having other people build their fortunes, and by having by having affiliates go out there, risk their own money, getting paid based on commission only if they make sales, while Dave simply sit back and create a training by getting on webinars, recording webinars, by recording training videos, and by creating a software system that simply integrates with an autoresponder and a blogging system. Okay, so they created value out of thin air by creating a new system. And this is an amazing part to the entire blueprint that has been proven to make millionaires online, because you don't really need to have an inventory, you don't need to have a warehouse to store stuff, you don't need to sell stuff on eBay. You can simply create value out of thin air by creating information and software products and training products that eventually lead to you becoming an authority and lead to you having customers who are willing to pay you money just to hang out with you. Obviously, that's a bit of a simplified version of it, but that's how things work. So these are the misconceptions that I operated on, the belief system that I've had when I was broke and I couldn't really break through in my business. So eventually, here's the mistakes that followed in my actions when it came to my business, right? So the first thing is I was trying to build a list through ClickBank products, through marketing ClickBank products. So what I was doing is I was driving traffic to an opt-in form, and the opt-in form would link to a gift. That gift would link to an affiliate offer on ClickBank, which paid me 70% commission. Now, here's why it didn't work. Well, for one, I've only gotten 70% commission. I didn't get 100% commission, and I got zilch on the back end where the real profits are. So if on the front end I was getting 17 or 27, so obviously 70% out of 17 or 70% out of 27, at the back end, which was 97 or 197, I only got 30 or 40%, because remember, this is ClickBank a couple of years ago. Now today you can find 100% commission products, sure, but you will never get 100% commission on the back. And the most you will get on the back is 50%, and the pricing for these products is usually very, very low. If we're talking about JVZoo, ClickSure, Warrior Plus, so it's a $7 or $5 front end, or $10 front end, and $27 or $37 back end, where you're getting 50%. Now think about it. Even if you do make a front end sale and a back end sale, that's still $7, and half of 37 is 18.5. So that's like 20-something bucks. Now that's not even enough to cover for 100-click solo ad or a decent Facebook ad promotion. I spend more on Facebook an hour than 25 bucks. So what you must remember here is that when you're just an affiliate marketer to somebody, you're never getting all the money. You're risking your money, you're promoting stuff, you're risking your hours, and you're putting your reputation on the line, but you're never getting all the money. And most importantly, this is the most critical part that I was ignoring, and I had no idea, because at the time I simply didn't know what I didn't know. And I'm trusting that a lot of you guys are the same, in the same position right now, is that when you're an affiliate marketer, not just you're not getting all the money, but you're also not getting the customer, which is the most painful part financially, because the customer is where the money is. In fact, I got customers in my business today that have resulted in profits exceeding $15,000. And I'm talking only one customer here, throughout the last 3 years. That means that I have an ongoing relationship with my customers, which leads to more money in my pocket and more value for them. And they're happily paid me the money because I'm happily delivering the value to them. And you have no idea just how much easier it is for you to get a deal going on with an existing client who's already trusting you. And I just want this to sink in, guys, because it's so hard. There's so much effort that goes into selling an affiliate offer to a cold prospect, even if it's something as simple as $7, something as low as $7. While it's so easy to sell a $500 product or a $500 service or a $500 offer of some sort to an existing customer who trusts you, likes you, and wants to do business with you because of that trust factor. So by willingly not collecting the buyer, by willingly letting the buyer form the relationship with the vendor and not with the affiliate marketer, which is you at this point, you're almost saying, yes, I'm happy to make less money, I'm happy to work harder, and I'm extremely satisfied, having a very unstable and shaky income. Because when you got an existing customer base, and it doesn't have to be big, by the way, you can be making a great living. My business today is in the multiple six figures. And I'm making those multiple six figures with a customer base as little as 150 customers. Now, you might be wondering, how the hell is that possible? Well, for one, I would want to have more customers because, each customer takes time to serve. So, I want to have a small customer, a small tribe, if you will, right? And this is something that I have reaffirmed by masterminding with guys like Andrew Sheffron, who's considered to be one of the greatest email marketers, one of the greatest email scientists, if you will. The guy makes a great living just off of email. He doesn't ever get on the phone. He doesn't ever do anything but email marketing. So, he has a small tribe of just about 2,000 people, and he's making a great living. He lives in Spain, lives the internet lifestyle, works a couple of hours a day, writes a few emails, and he's done. Now, like I said, my customer base is only 150 people big. I'm talking about an active customer base. These are the people who I maintain an ongoing relationship with, right? So that's a relationship everybody seems to be talking about on forums. And these are the people that I have a very fulfilling and profitable interaction with on a daily basis. And my income is very stable thanks to that, because whenever I'm in a cash crunch, I know exactly what these people want, and I can simply work harder for them, for which they're happily giving me money. And again, we're talking about your customers happily giving you money. No unethical selling, no budding salesman techniques, no bait and switch stuff, but ethical and fulfilling business with repeat customers over and over and over again, which is only possible when you are offering some sort of value out of your own life, out of your own experience to the people. Now, obviously, the big stumbling block that I've experienced in the past and that I've seen other people experience, is, of course, Igor, how can I go about creating a product if I'm a newbie and I don't have any value to give? I don't have any track record, and I don't have any case studies like you have. You, Igor, you have 65 case studies of people you've helped make money, and I'm not making money myself. Or basically, why would anybody trust me? And so this is actually very simple, because the classic example of a guy who made a fortune, and then subsequently actually he lost that fortune and died broke, but that's a whole different topic of a conversation. A guy who made a fortune and became world famous throughout generations, and I'm positive, at least 9 out of 10 people on this call, 9 out of every 10 people on this call know the name The guy who made those fortunes was Napoleon Hill, right? So I'm sure this rings a bell to most of you. Napoleon Hill, the guy behind Think and Grow Rich, who was hired by Andrew Carnegie, I think that was his name, you know, one of the greatest millionaires of America back in the day. And he was simply reporting on other people's success and breaking down their success into principles. So he went out and he published a book that described the 13 principles on how millionaires think and how you must think to grow rich. Now, Napoleon Hill was a nobody, okay? And he died as a nobody as well. In fact, he died as a sales trainer by having, I think Andrew Carnegie, I think he saved him from bankruptcy and hired him as a sales trainer to his sales team. But like I said, we do know who Napoleon Hill is, and he's an admired figure in our industry and for anybody who's even mildly interested in success and achieving success and mechanics of success. Now, how is that possible if the guy himself never achieved major success in his life before publishing that book, Think and Grow Rich? Well, you see, that's possible because the guy simply reported on other people's success. And if you remember, you know, there's this saying, you know, killing the messenger, right? So the messenger who would be the bearer of bad news, they would, in ancient times, in ancient Rome, they would hang the guy. So nobody wanted to be the bad, nobody wanted to bring the bad news to the emperor. You see, it still holds true today. You must be the bringer of good news, the good news messenger, where what you're doing is you're giving people hope and uplifting them to take action by simply studying other people's successes and reporting on those successes. That is, for example, why I'm an avid reader and studier of success by following other successful people's biographies, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Felix Dennis, whose book I'm reading right now. Actually, I recommend for anybody who's interested in getting rich to any extent to pick up this book by, I'm actually holding this book right in my hand right now. It's always with me. And whenever I get a free minute, I flip through a few pages. The book is How to Get Rich, and one of the world's greatest entrepreneurs shares his secrets, by Felix Dennis, the founder of Maxim magazine. So as you know, Maxim magazine is one of the biggest magazines out there, and the guy is a multi-millionaire. And in this book, it's sort of like a lighter and a more sarcastic version of Think and Grow Rich, only written, based on one person's life. And so what Felix does here is he simply dissects the science of getting rich into principles. And again, there's a lot of similarity going on between this and Think and Grow Rich, talking about persistence and being able to do the hard work and being innovative and investing in yourself in your business and stuff like that. But it's written in a very fun way. And so what you can do is you can simply study other successful people in your field. You can even study myself. That I'm successful enough for people to recognize my name, I guess, at this point, at least anybody who's interested in list building and building expert, right? What you do is you study other list building experts and you simply deliver what you learn in a way of an observer or a reporter to your audience. And you will notice that your audience will slowly start building, because there's a lot of people out there, believe it or not, who don't want to take the time to study other successful people. They would much rather hang on to you who would take the time to study them and report on the key concepts that they would now take and use in their life and business. And so they will not, first off, you will not have to lie about having credentials, because you will be open about not having any. But instead, you will come as a messenger where your mission is to report on other people's successes and deliver it in a way where your audience can model that. You see, my first product, by the way, that I've developed and sold for $9.95 was me reporting on the success of guys like Abe Pagan and Ryan Dice. Now, in case you don't know who these guys are, Abe Pagan is also known as David D'Angelo in the dating market. and he built a $10 million a year business out of his bedroom. Now, obviously, it didn't grow to a $10 million per year while he was stuck in the bedroom. He actually had a huge team, and he brought in some corporate people eventually when I got deeper into his story. But the point I'm trying to make is that I simply reported on other experts in the industry. In fact, in my product, which was a simple 13-page PDF report, I said, you know, this guy was the first one to come out and say this in his product XYZ. At the time, I think the product was the Ignition Seminar, which was held one time, and I had the DVD recordings of it. And I've also shared that this other concept that I'm introducing you to, I first learned from Ryan Deiss. And if you want to learn more about Ryan Deiss, you go to ryandeiss.com, or what, digitalmarketer.com, I think his website is. But the point is, I was very open about reporting that, okay, I didn't invent this. I did not, I don't claim to be the inventor of this particular concept. In fact, this is the guy who invented it. This is the guy who I first heard it from. So you go and study that guy. But you see, they will not go and study that guy. At least most people won't, because they trust you for what you are. They appreciate you being honest with them. And they simply go ahead and they say, okay, Igor, so what did this guy teach you? And what did you learn? And then you report to them what did you learn in your own words. This is not, stealing content. This is simply reporting, because, believe it or not, anything we learn in life, we always learn from other people. It's extremely rare for anybody to learn anything based on trial and error. And although we do make mistakes and we learn from these mistakes, eventually once we realize that these were mistakes, we go back in time, we go kind of reminisce, and we realize, oh, I've heard this guy talk about this in the past. This is what he meant. And every time I identify a new mistake in my business, this is exactly what's going on. I'm like, oh, wait, Carlton was talking about it in his, Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets DVDs. So, again, if you have doubts about being able to deliver value, you don't have to invent it. You simply have to report value based on what other people have taught you. Okay, so that was one mistake I was making, trying to build a list for affiliate marketing rather than inventing my own products and delivering value through my own products. Next, I was avoiding paid traffic. And I was really avoiding paid traffic for a few years. In fact, I thought that because I wasn't making much money, I shouldn't use paid traffic, and that I should only use paid traffic after I make money, which is, again, the same catch-22 when it comes to the products. So what happened was I diligently and super aggressively blogged for a while, okay? I think for about 8 months. I really made it a mission to blog every day, to deliver unique content to the marketplace, and I mastered blogging, okay? I wrote every day a unique post, unique article. I mastered WordPress, right? I knew everything there is to know about WordPress. I knew everything there is to know about themes and designs. I even, knew everything there is to know about plugins. And I thought that if I just diligently blog day in and day out, then what's going to happen is eventually my business is going to pick up. Now, sadly, I was wrong. My traffic picked up, and I was generating to a tune of between 200 and 400 visitors a day on money-making keywords. And people were coming to my blog, and I had some affiliate banners on the blog too that were getting some clicks. And I'd get comments, and I'd get people saying, "Man, your blog looks great, and you got some amazing content over there." And I would say, "Thank you so much." But the thing is, I wasn't making any money. In fact, my blog at the time was PageRank 4, which in itself has a ton of value, 4 out of 10, and I was ranking really well. But even when I was reviewing affiliate products on my blog, I would never make any money. Nobody would buy anything. In fact, I also built a list off of that blog. I had like a slick opt-in form on the right-hand side of my blog where I invited people to opt into my list, and they did. So after 8 months of diligent blogging, I built a list well, a gigantic list of 1,000 subscribers. Okay, 8 months. It took me 8 months to generate 1,000 subscribers. Now, in today's standards, now that I know how to generate 1,000 subscribers in 2 hours, okay, you can just go buy a Soloist and get those. That is outrageous. That is simply unacceptable. But at the time, that was enough for me to celebrate. So what happened was, though, that whenever I mailed the list, I would get as much as 10 opens and 3 clicks. Okay, I would get very little activity from the list, and even those who did, open my emails, they would never buy anything. They would never click on anything. Why? Because, again, I had no authority with them. So eventually, list. In fact, that list was on GetResponse that I built. And so I just basically, I was so frustrated, I was so pissed and so discouraged, I simply shut down my GetResponse account and I started over a month later in Aweber. And so in Aweber, I started over with a product. And I started adding 20 subscribers to my list because now I could get other people to promote for me. I could get paid traffic going on. At the time I didn't have a huge budget, but I had something, and I was making sales with my product. So I started getting, activity happening, and pretty soon I was actually making money. But that is, again, I'm just running ahead a bit, but just to give you an idea. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a sip of water. In the meanwhile, you're welcome to type in some questions into the chat box in case you got any about anything we've discussed so far on this call. Okay, so I don't see any questions for now, so we'll just keep going. Now, the last mistake, the last biggest mistake that I was making, and it ties directly to not having a product to sell and simply trying to do affiliate marketing, is not having a buyer list. And just like I've explained earlier, when you have a buyer list, when you have a tribe, and like I said, it can just be a very small tribe, just a very small engaged tribe of people. You end up creating a lot of success for yourself. In fact, not just by selling your own products, but by also becoming a top-performing affiliate marketer. Because what ended up happening to me, I ended up dominating affiliate competitions with small buyer lists, like to the tune of 200 to 300 people of folks who bought my low-ticket information products. And because I maintained a very healthy level of connection with them, by frequently emailing them and being very personal and open to them about my life, I ended up, landing on actual leaderboards for launches on ClickBank and Warrior Forum, and that was insane. I never, I never even thought that would be possible for me because I would always watch these leaderboards, and they always had the same names on them, the same super duper affiliates who had gigantic lists, or so I thought. Turned out that you didn't have to have a gigantic list to do this anyway. But, I was just watching them. My jaw would just drop on the floor whenever I see my name on the leaderboard. I was like, wow. Now, I didn't hold for very long that leaderboard. By the 10th or by the 15th day of the launch, somebody would push me down all the way to the top 20. Not the top 10 or something, but the top 20, and sometimes even the top 30. So I wasn't like dominating, but this is where I really realized, hey, I can do this, and I can do this with a small list if I play my cards right, and that means that I can grow my list fast, I can fund my list building forward, and I could, by the virtue of by creating a bit more sophisticated sales funnels, by having not just one front-end product, but having a front-end product and an upsell and some highly targeted affiliate cross-sells, I was able to develop what I now call today self-liquidating list building. You see, what self-liquidating list building is all about, and this was the big aha moment for me, was that I could actually break even on my traffic. Well, actually, let me put it this way. I could make money as I was growing my list and as I was adding people to my list, or at the very least break even, or at the very, very, very least, very least I could get 80% of my money back very, very quickly, sometimes in a matter of hours, and sometimes in a matter of days. In the worst case scenario, in a matter of just a few weeks. And I could grow very fast because I would take the same money I've just invested, make it all of it back, and reinvest it right back into my list. And so it created these self-funding list-building machines that allowed me to skyrocket from making as little as about $700 net in my small business with just one little tiny $995 product and some affiliate promotions in the back, to making as much as $10,000 net per month in as little as 6 months' time. Now, obviously, at the time, I was still trying to tweak and perfect the system, and today, whenever I teach the system to somebody else, it's already perfected, so they just have to implement, and thus usually success comes so much quicker. And if you've been following me around, and some of the flagship success stories that I've been bringing out to the marketplace, we've got people who haven't really spoken much English, who've been able to go from a standing start and not really knowing what list building really is, all the way to making 10K plus per month. Like, for example, my friend Eugene from Moscow, the guy never even heard about list building before joining me in my coaching program, and now he went ahead and he basically made enough money to be able to take a 2-week vacation to New York, come back, and still make 10 grand. Okay, and that is while actually having a newborn baby in his life, which probably kept him awake at night. Well, at least his wife for sure, but probably him. I mean, I don't remember when I was waking up at night. I was pretty dedicated to my sleep. I kind of made my wife work there. But the point I'm trying to make is that Eugene is really not alone, and I really got it down to a systematic approach. And in a minute, I'm going to introduce you to a great way for you to grasp the entire concept. That helped me take guys like David Deckel to a $16.8 thousand revenue in this business in just 90 days, starting from scratch, and guys like Bill Winters, who went from zero to making $3K per month net profit just off of his funnel, completely self-funded by the funnel and by his business in as little as 90 days time. So the guy literally started out with about $500 in his pocket, okay, followed my system, and in 90 days from getting started, he already had a list of 7,900 people and making a net profit of $3 grand while reinvesting, okay, back into the business, allowing him to build a completely self-liquidating list and making money virtually for free. Okay, without of course, if we don't forget the investment, the initial investment of $500 that he's already made back and then some, by the time he reached 3K per month. So the concept I want to introduce you to is this little mind map of what I call the perfect sales funnel. Okay, and hopefully you can see this, and I'm just gonna. Can you guys just type in real quick into the chat box if you can actually see it clearly? Because I know it's a mind map and it might be tricky. Just a quick yes or no, or just a quick comment I would appreciate. All right, thank you guys, thank you. So basically the funnel starts with a squeeze page, right? And so this is like the bird's eye view of what your funnel is supposed to look like. So it starts with a squeeze page, and I know you, by the way guys, I know you see most of it, but I'm just going to slide over to the right when I get to the next part, so don't worry. So it starts with a squeeze page just like any other funnel. Okay, it's a very simple squeeze page with a very simple benefit-oriented promise, and then when they opt in, as you can see here, yes, opt in, I take him to the sales page. Now this is quite contrary to what most people believe to be the right way to build your list, because most people still believe that you must bribe people to get on your list. I honestly believe that is not true. I believe you don't have to bribe anybody to get on your list. I believe what you have to do is just get them curious enough about what you have to offer, And those who really need what you've got will gladly get on your list. Just like if you were to be a door-to-door salesman and you were selling fire alarm systems or water filters or encyclopedias or vacuum cleaner or whatever, your initial pitch, your initial headline, if you will, at the moment the prospect opens the door, if what you're saying is of interest to them, they will be gladly sharing their email address with you, okay, just as if you were giving them something for free. But the mere act of trying to attract somebody for free, trying to attract somebody based on the promise of free stuff, okay, or free crap, as I call it, because they got so much of it online that, there's really no point of you giving them more of it. They get a ton of free crap on forums, they get a ton of free crap on YouTube, they get a ton of free crap by simply browsing their Facebook, they get a ton of free crap by going to black hat sites, which everybody's aware of, right? So there's enough of free crap floating around, but it's for some reason, right? This is the catch. For some reason, it doesn't help them excel in their business. Okay, in fact, the free crap doesn't have as much perceived value about helping them, or perceived value that they feel that it has, as much as paid crap has. Now, obviously, I say paid crap sarcastically, but obviously, if you're still something that you can honestly say, call crap, then you should improve whatever you're selling. But here's the point. The point is, you don't have to give away free stuff. You don't have to create bribes, as they call them, or lead magnets in order to get a great opt-in rate and generate great prospects. Because for the most part, people who react just on the words free, they are not willing to spend money. And people who are not willing to invest money into their business, into their success, or invest money with regardless whether it's you or somebody else, do you really want these people on your list? Do you honestly want people who are just going to be, sucking your time and sucking your energy out, and who are just going to be sitting there consuming your offers and collecting your offers rather than acting upon your offers? Now, I don't know about you. Okay, I really honestly do not. But the number one goal in my business, for me, is to make money. Now, the reason for that, the reason I say that is because, not because I don't care about my customers. I really do care about my customers. The reason I say that is because I can't really pay the bills any other way. Money is what makes the world go round, and there's really no denying it. And so if you are honestly sitting there without having your primary and initial goal in your business to make money, you should either leave the business or really reevaluate your goals. And so that is exactly why the entry into my world does not start with a free gift, because I don't want them to enter my world through a free exchange. Now, you might think, okay, Igor, but this particular webinar you're holding, right? This is a free webinar because I just went out there and posted this on my Facebook, and so I'm basically giving you guys free value by exposing all the mistakes I've made and how to fix those mistakes, right? But here's the thing. You're giving me more than just your email. I mean, just the mere act of you typing an email to register for the webinar is really not that difficult for you. It's not that big of a price to pay. But you sitting here and engaging me for an hour and a half, I don't know how much this is going to take, but here is a price. So I don't really see this as a free exchange because you're here and you're saying no to other commitments. In fact, I know people who have canceled appointments just to be on this webinar. And I appreciate that sincerely, and I know how valuable time is. And as we all know, time is money. So, again, I don't want you to be building lists that are crappy lists and they don't pay you anything, because lists that are like that, well, they aren't worth anything. And you most definitely don't want to have your list full of people who are quote-unquote freebie seekers. Now, I'm saying this without really judging them, because freebie seekers have their own reasons, and if they choose to be freebie seekers, it's their choice. If they choose not to invest in their success, it's their choice. I was a freebie seeker myself at one point. Eventually, I decided not to be. And so, as far as I'm concerned, every freebie seeker eventually does become a very serious student of success. Either that, or they quit the business. Okay, so now we get them from an opt-in form to a sales page, and here they can either buy your product or not, but you got their email. So when you look at it, when hopefully you can see here where it says follow-up sequence initiated, right? This is in case that the people, that the prospect says no, right? If that happens, the first thing I do, I might use their email and their willingness to open my email to do a bonus link swap. What this means is that I may send out an initial email with either a swap link, right? So I'll set up a deal with another list owner to do the same for me, or with a pay-per-lead program where I can get paid for generating a lead, not a sale, but a lead for somebody else. And there's plenty of programs out there which you can find them. This is something I have as a resource box in my coaching program usually whenever I work with somebody, where you can basically just go and refer an opt-in to somebody and get paid $1 or 75 cents for doing so, okay, which is totally fine. This is a nice little addition to your income at the end of the month. You could be making as much as $300 to $700 or so through this per month, which is, like I said, a great addition, but definitely not enough to pay the bills. Or I can promote them a low-end affiliate offer. The reason I say a low-end affiliate offer is because, well, I wouldn't expect for them to invest with me on a high-ticket level before they committed to me on a low-ticket level, right? But that is, of course, besides initiating a follow-up sequence to sell your product, right? So we're talking, the bonus link swap and the pay-per-lead programs is a good little thing to have, just sprinkled into a 7 to 10-day follow-up sequence that tries to sell your product over and over again. And we'll come back to the follow-up sequence a bit later on this call, so don't get hung up on it for now. Now, on the sales page, they have really two options. Either say no, click away, at which point I will offer them a downsell, usually a discounted downsell, or something I've been tasting lately, something I've been testing lately, where I've been offering them a hybrid offer with a different positioning, which has been working really well, to which they can either say no, and then, of course, the follow-up sequence is going to be initiated, and that's where I'm going to hope and try to make a sale, or they can say yes, and I will get them on my buyer list, and the process is going to be the same as above, which we're going to discuss here in a minute. So, if they say yes to the sales page offer, okay, and buy my product, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offer them to sign up to my buyer list. So before, that's the key point here, before you even deliver the product, you say, okay, so now I want to know, where do I send your product? Okay, so you get their email address, and now you have them on your buyer list. And this is the buyer list, the greatest asset in your business that you can possibly have. And if you play your email marketing cards right, if you know exactly what to mail them, you will be able to take just one buyer on your list, even if the relationship started with a product, something as cheap or something as inexpensive is a better word, as $7 or $9. You can turn that relationship to a multi-thousand-dollar relationship with you over time, and thus, of course, build a very strong foundation for your business. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, something I never done, back in the day, but what I figured out that I had to do. Just 1 second here. About that, when you work in a coffee shop, you get distracted sometimes. Happens. So apologies for that. So the one thing I haven't been doing when I was getting started, that's the reason why I was, I was making some money, but I was never breaking even or making a profit for that matter on my email promotions, was offering an upsell. And a lot of people actually have misconceptions about what upsells are. And as a vendor, I get that because I get questions such as, hey, if I buy your product, is 17 or 27 bucks is all I need to pay, or are there other expenses and hidden upsells that I must buy in order to make this work? Well, you see, the way I structure my business is you can make this work easily, even if you don't buy the upsell. But the upsell is designed to help you dramatically speed up results. So in one of my particular list building products, I'm sharing my strategy to building my list or solo ads, and the upsell is showing how to speed up your list building 5 times faster by utilizing tools such as social media and other techniques. So you see, while you don't have to buy the upsell, okay, if you're short on money, for example, you can take the slower route, but if you got more money, I'm happy to offer you additional value for some additional price tag. In this case, in the funnel I'm referring to is 37 bucks. If you want to speed things up. And you'd be surprised, but a lot of people take that. In fact, currently, what I'm experiencing is about 3 out of every 5 people who invest in my product go for the upsell and thank me for it. Okay, so again, we are coming back to an issue of feeling queasy or feeling uncomfortable about selling something. You should never feel like that. You should always be proud of what you're selling. And if you're not, your job is to make it so awesome that you will be proud to put your name on it by simply, like I said, even if you don't have value of your own, by simply studying other people's success and other people's techniques and delivering the value as the messenger, not as the creator of the value. So at this point, if they say no to the upsell, you can downsell them. You can downsell the upsell. And what I mean by that is you can either offer a discount for the upsell, right? Or you can simply try to offer a different version of the upsell, perhaps a stripped down version for a lower price, right? So if your upsell, say, is a tool of some sort, like a software you've developed, and they decided to say no, you can then say, okay, don't get the unlimited domain license, get a single domain license for a lower price though. This is just as an example. If you're selling an information product as an upsell, you can strip down a couple of chapters from your ebook and say, okay, well, I've removed this benefit and this benefit, so you can get this at $10 less than what I'm charging for the full option. And in case you want to upgrade later, I'll have you do such an option, within the product itself. So, see, what you're doing here is you don't really discount for no reason, because otherwise you'd have a lot of angry customers on your hands, and you'll have a lot of complaints. In fact, you might even end up with a bunch of refunds. But instead, you're decreasing the value, and you're showing the prospect, okay, you don't want to invest in the full level, invest on a smaller level, and I'll simply take away a little bit of value. Okay? And this is where, again, they either can say yes, and they get the upsell, and then you forward them to the download page that gives them the upsell and the front end, or they say no, they say skip, I don't want this, I want to skip this, and then you transfer them over to the front-end purchase download page. Now, if they say yes to the full price upsell, you simply redirect them to the full download page with the front end and the upsell. As simple as that. Okay? Now, the one thing we haven't discussed, the two things we haven't discussed is the follow-up sequence and what the follow-up sequence needs to talk about. And we also haven't discussed the exit pop. So if on the squeeze page they decided not to opt into your squeeze page, there's an exit pop that basically takes them to an alternative offer, whether a different squeeze page of yours, whether an exit pop traffic swap, which you can set up with another list owner. You can simply approach them and say, hey, let's do an exit traffic swap, where you'll just send your exit pop traffic to me, and I'll send my exit traffic to you. At which point, of course, you're exchanging free traffic you guys both have, but you can't utilize, which is, again, a true win-win. Or, you can even go ahead and negotiate a deal with somebody who needs traffic, enough for them, to sell your exit pop traffic for as little as 10 cents a click or 8 cents an impression, something like that. Again, it's nothing major. It's something you can really feed off, but it helps when it comes to recuperating every single penny you possibly can from your promotions. Or of course you can target this to pay-per-lead. However, some pay-per-lead owners, people who run those pay-per-leads, they don't really like when they you send them exit pop traffic. But then again, it's really subject to negotiation. So now the follow-up sequence, like I said, it should be between 7 and 10 days long, because on average, if somebody hasn't purchased from you right away, you now have between 5 to 7 chances, 5 to 7 attempts to try and sell them again. And what you can focus on in your follow-up sequence is there's really a lot of, well, there's many schools of thought about it, right? And there's the person I recommend studying regarding follow-up sequences is Andrew Shepron, but he has a bit of a complicated, long-form sequences that can go for 30 to 60 days. My personal perception of what a follow-up sequence is just a bit of an edge that I've got to get a customer. And remember, your job is to get a customer to make a sale. Your approach must be long-term, so your job is to make a sale to get a customer, so you can make more sales down the road. Okay? And I do apologize about, this is MK texting me. So, the follow-up sequence, each email in your follow-up sequence, which should be about a day apart, should focus on a particular problem/solution that is currently bothering your prospects. So again, if we're selling the list building product, I would focus on the traffic problem/solution. I would focus on a conversion problem/solution in another email. I would focus on budget problem/solution on another email, and so on and so forth. And the two last emails, what I would do is I would force the urgency. Okay, I would force the urgency of investment, and perhaps if you're tech savvy enough, have a countdown timer installed on a unique page where it basically gives them a specific countdown as far as how much time there's left to buy your product. Now, basically, there's here, of course, we got an issue of bullshit scarcity, as they call it, right? But if they haven't invested with you within the first 7 to 10 days, they will not invest with you anymore. They won't save your links or anything. So you might as well, push them to invest. And if they don't, they will not be coming back. So again, like I said, you can create a timer-based page using some sort of a plugin or software that allows you to create scarcity, which you'll have to research to get, where you're saying, look, this is the deadline, and you can get this, or it's over. And as simple as that. In other words, you must detach yourself from the outcome, and you should never try to sell everybody and their brother into your product. So if they don't buy, you just let them go. So now you got a list. Now you got 2 lists, by the way. Okay. You got a list of people who bought something from you, a list of people who didn't buy something from you. So once the people who didn't buy anything from you make their way through your sequence, but they're still in your list, here's your chance to really, really hammer them. And I know hammer doesn't sound really nice, but aggressively market to them anything that can potentially make you some money, as long as, of course, you keep the ethical boundaries in place. So pay-per-lead programs, maybe doing ad swaps, low-end affiliate offers related to the topic they signed up for, or even, to get them re-engaged with you, you can drive them over to a webinar of some sort, and have a, this type of interaction with them. Because, like I said, guys, whoever takes the time out of their busy day to sit down for an hour and a half, webinar with you is definitely worth your attention, is definitely worth your respect, and can definitely be considered an action taker. Okay, so that is what a funnel is, and like I said, it's not easy, Okay, I didn't say it was easy, but it is simple, and there's really nothing for you to complicate this. There's no reason for you to complicate this. Now, I know a lot of people who have the ability and the desire to do this stuff on their own, and when we end this webinar, I'm sure there will be a lot of people, mailing me and thanking me for holding this webinar and getting busy working on their own sales funnel. However, if you're somebody who is feeling insecure about their ability to do this, or if you're somebody who's not technical at all and never really built a funnel before, and who would much rather prefer to shortcut their way by having someone as experienced as myself, with a track record as proven as my track record, as far as building their first funnel goes and creating the self-liquidating list building machine for themselves that can go on and build them, their own list building fortunes, allowing them, of course, to live the list building lifestyle, then I do invite you to visit this page, which you can see on your screen right now at bit.ly/listlife, and submit a free application where we can connect one-on-one on how we can talk, on how we can work together, and how we can walk you through step by step, and basically make sure, looking over your shoulder, making sure that every step you're taking is the right one, allowing you to shortcut your way to building your very own self-liquidating list building sales funnel. Okay. Now I do want to basically make sure you understand is that this is not for people who are looking for, for a very simple and very easy get-rich-quick scheme. Okay, this is not something where you get to sit back and basically push a button and make things happen. This is hard work. Okay, however, this hard work pays off so well, and you can find out basically just how well it pays off by simply visiting my page over at listbuildinglifestyle.com. Okay, and what you'll find there is a bunch of case studies of me helping complete newbies to go from 0 to 100% list building and make a full-time income in their businesses, starting from scratch, and always starting on a limited budget. In fact, none of my clients are rich, or none of my clients are gurus or anything like that. I've been specializing on bringing newbies to this full-time list building success, and the system that we've got in place has been perfected. Not to mention that you get to work hand in hand with myself and my other successful students, where we get to hold your hand every step of the way, reviewing your work and giving you real human feedback and real human support on your, on helping you make your way up to the superstardom, so to speak. Now, the point that I'm trying to make on this call, of course, and I do thank you for sticking around, is that I never leave anybody behind. Okay, there's yet to be a person who was left to bleed in the battlefield. And the reason I do that is because I thrive, my business thrives on delivering case studies. And so every time I get a new client, my goal is to get a case study. And that is why I'm being absolutely honest with you in telling you that this is hard work, this requires real business effort and real business commitment, okay? But if you stick through, if you really follow through, if you really go through this intensive coaching program and you do everything as I tell you to do and execute to a T and don't deviate from the simple master plan, you're likely to experience windfalls from your own list and create a very stable and highly scalable business you can rely on to pay your bills month after month after month. And just like dozens and dozens, and like I said, to this day it's 65, number 65, successful students that I've got, that I've worked with before and that I'm still working with. So there you go, guys. If you want to work with me and if you want my help at building your own self-liquidating list building machine, simply go to bit.ly/listlife or visit listbuildinglifestyle.com and just simply follow the instructions. And I do thank you for tuning into this workshop, and I thank you so much and wish you the very best. Have a great weekend. Bye.